every level of wealth has its own challenges and opportunities. So people wobble when they go from one bracket to the next because they bring along the old set of values that can be counterproductive to the new level of wealth.
Hello and welcome to the FT Studios in London for the latest episode of PWM Family Matters. Today I'm joined by Alina Lazarescu-Aboud, principal of her family office in Switzerland.
Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting.
A liquidity event is often seen as the ultimate success, but what really changes for families once that moment arrives? What's your experience?
What founders and families underestimate is that the exit is not the end of the journey. It's actually the beginning of a whole new journey. And even if it seems like it's an easy one, it has its own challenges. They are a little bit more hidden than the ones of building a business. There is a vacuum created by the exit, a vacuum of action, meaning, a purpose. This vacuum leaves the founders experiencing a sense of depression. And what is important at that time is for founders to take a moment and look into what's coming next. Who am I? Without being the founder of this and building of that. And then what do I want to do with my life? What is this wealth for? The business was the glue of the family, their circle. It's also important here to sit as a family and ask ourselves, what's next for us? What keeps us together now, if it's no longer the business? What do we want to do next? What do we want to build together? Because without asking these questions, we now have the wealth and the space and the time to drift into parallel lifestyle with quietly actually losing our family.
Your husband built the business. What was the transition like for your family? How long does it take for families to adapt to this new reality?
It took quite a long time, and what I typically found is it takes like 2 to 5 years with expert advice to do this transition, to actually really adapt to the newfound wealth. But without it, what I discovered is there are many families who never adapt. And it's like they remain like strangers in paradise. They never feel like they own it fully.
So what kind of adjustments do individuals and families need to make to adapt to this new reality, to their new wealth?
This newfound wealth comes as a little bit of a shock to the system. Even if it's full of opportunities, it can be overwhelming, and people respond entering by a flight, fight, or freeze. And how that looks in practice, either some people, they avoid it, or some families, they overspend, or some people go into over-controlling it and micromanaging it. So it's important to do the inner work and integrate it.
You say wealth needs to be integrated. So what does that mean in practice?
It's like a metabolization of this wealth. It's like we take something external and we make it part of us. That's what I call wealth integration. It starts, first of all, with the internal work and then slowly aligning the outer structures to align with the newfound wealth. And I don't know if you notice, but every level of wealth has its own challenges and opportunities, and it's like its own atmosphere to it. So people wobble when they go from one bracket to the next. And why they wobble is because they bring along the old set of values and behavior patterns that can be counterproductive to the new level of wealth and actually can be destructive sometimes. What needs to be done is for people to upgrade their operating system to the level of wealth they're currently in, their internal operating system, and then to upgrade the structures that are needed for each level.
So you talked about structure. So many families decide to create a family office when coming into substantial wealth. What are the main challenges families face when creating a family office for the first time in your experience?
Family offices, they come to solve some problems. That's why families decide to create these family offices. First of all, there's the problem of complexity. With great wealth comes a lot of assets, with multiple jurisdictions, lots of tax systems that needs to be accounted for, and lots of generational needs. There are multiple generations, each one with their needs. So they create these family offices as a structure to manage this complexity, to have an overview of control. And secondly, the family office comes to solve the problem of wealth preservation. But the main challenges of a first-time family office is the fact that the founder remains central for too long. So the spouse and the children are a little bit unprepared when the time is coming for them to step in. So that's what I think is the main mistake.
And many parents worry about how wealth might affect their children. What risks do you see for the next generation in your experience, and what are some of the practical ways to involve younger generations early so that they build responsibility around wealth while also developing their own identity?
The main worry of any family that comes into wealth is spoiling their children. So while there are practical ways to ensure that doesn't happen, one of my favorite ways is to involve the kids a weekly family meeting where we meet and we talk about our problems, what is the family dealing with, so the kids get to understand that they're adults, they also have their own challenges, and they get to know what is their journey in life, what's happening with them as well. They also get to experience that their voice counts, and they get to propose family trips, pitch for them, make research, make some projects. So they get involved into the family life like an equal quite early. I think it develops a sense of belonging, which is important if you want the family to continue. It's for everybody to apply to create a very strong family culture, because that will ensure their kids will start stepping into responsibility. They will know what's happening in the family. They will contribute, and that will ensure that they will not be entitled later on.
How does wealth integration influence things like purpose, philanthropy, long-term stewardship for families?
I think it's important as a first step for people to feel safe in their wealth, to feel they do have enough, because it takes some time for the nervous system to realize, oh, I do have enough. People naturally want to contribute as a real movement of something they really want to do, to impact, to make the world a better place. And it's not like something that an advisor told them to do. That's when I feel the impact is lasting, because it comes from a real authentic place.
What is the key advice you give to families to make sure that their wealth have a positive impact on their families, the society? What is it that makes the difference? Is it education, communication, as you mentioned before?
What kind of difference we want to make in the world? Because each of us has something we want to contribute. It's a further thing that we can involve our younger kids, because sometimes there are some very hidden, often non-named guilt feelings that comes with a lot of wealth. I feel like the wealth to do a positive impact, it's also we have to deal with these feelings and we have to make something good for the others.
Thank you, Alina, for sharing your insights.
Thank you.